Hey, what's happening? I'm Claudio, and today I'm going to be building a quick table saw sled. It can be super dangerous to try and cross-cut a long, narrow piece of wood. This sled makes it safe and it's easy to use. See how I made it? Stick around. Let's make it now. I measured out a piece of 3/4 inch plywood I had. It was actually a good sled size, so I didn't even cut it down. I grabbed a couple 2x4s from the front and back fences. Then I could measure the 2x4 to the width of the plywood. I took it to the miter saw and cut it to length. To make sure the board sit flat against the plywood, I jointed the bottom end. There was still a little bit of play, so I made one more pass on the joiner. The face of the board was pretty rough, so I ran that through the joiner really quick as well. Both edges were now flat, so I could attach the fence to the sled. Using a couple clamps and a speed square, I secured the board, making sure it was perpendicular to the edge. I flipped it over and drilled and countersunk some holes. This would keep my alignment for the glue up. I applied a good amount of glue and then smoothed it all out. I checked the alignment one more time, put the clamps back on, and then attached the fence with some screws. I grabbed a wet rag and wiped up the excess wood glue. I set the table saw to 3/4 inch so I could cut out the runners. I ripped down a couple of strips that were the width of the tracks in the table saw. It took several passes to make them the perfect fit. I also had to rip the runners again to cut the height down almost in half. The runners needed to be shorter than the tracks in the table saw. To glue them up properly, I raised the runners up by placing some pennies down in the track. I put both tracks in place and laid down some glue on the top side. After smoothing out the glue, I placed the sled in its place. I needed something to hold it down while it dried. I grabbed a few other heavy items to get the job done. Once the glue had dried, I drilled and countersunk some holes and then drove some screws in to secure the runners. I attached another 2x4 on the far side, just like the first one. This is what the sled looked like when it was done. Now I can cut long boards down without the fear of kickback. You can easily line up your cut by placing your cut line right on the edge of the saw kerf in the sled. This works on the back fence as well as the base. And now I just need to figure out where I'm going to store it. Well, this project was born out of necessity. I needed to cross-cut a long piece of wood for another project, and this sled came in handy. A good tip is to apply some paste wax to the runners. This will make the sled slide super easy. If you like this project, please subscribe below. You can follow me on social media at Make It Now channel and check out my website at www.makeitnow.tv. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.